Will Campbell's arm measurement, the highly anticipated Will Campbell arm measurement, did not go well for Will Campbell.
No, it did not.
What do you do now?
That's a great question. So the report from Mass Live before was that the Patriots saw Will Campbell as a tackle regardless of what happened with the arm measurement. I don't know whether or not they were expecting that because it wasn't just the arm length. Tim, I think I sent you that tweet earlier, right, with the wingspan. If I'm remembering the number correctly, he has the shortest wingspan of any tackle at the combine in like 10 years or something.
Oh, we have more research on
least
that.
2011, yeah.
At least 2011. So. Okay, so this is a guy that's undersized. Now, look, he's tremendously talented at being an offensive lineman, right? If he moves inside a guard, he's going to be a heck of a guard. You just have to ask yourself at this point, do you believe he is so talented that he can be an outlier? And that's what he would be, a significant outlier. Do you believe he has the talent for that? If you do, then yeah, you take him as a tackle. If you don't, now the picture gets a lot more cloudy because Mason Graham also measured in an undersized to the point where you have to ask the same question. You know, I point out his weight and people say, well, you know, Aaron Donald weighed in at 285. Okay, do you think he's Aaron Donald?
No.
Right? So, like, that's...
Different player.
He's a good player. But we thought he was going to be, like, special, playing the way he did at 320. Now he's not quite that guy. So, you know, do you think either of those guys are outliers? Ted McMillan didn't test, but there's questions about his speed. Do you believe he can be impactful? Basically, all of these guys after Hunter have some sort of big question. The only one that really doesn't is, or the only two that don't, I should say, are Tyler Warren and Ashton Genty, who don't play impact positions. Genty especially, this team can't really draft a running back right now.
Where's he going to go, though? Like, where's Genty going to go?
So I put a mock draft up this morning on 985sportsup.com. I had him going to the Cowboys at 12.
Wow.
That's probably a little low, but isn't that just something you can see the Cowboys doing?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
I just kind of want
We got Zeke sitting there.
Yeah.
I almost had to move up to take him because it's just like wherever they pick, he feels like a Cowboy, and that feels like their sort of pick. So, but to get back to the Patriots, again, you can deal with short arms at tackle. You can deal with undersized at defensive tackle, lack of speed at receiver. Tyler Warren's a good player, but doesn't play an impact position. You're going to have to basically ask yourself which one of these questions do you feel the best about answering?
Trade back and Tyler Warren's starting to make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. I just don't think you can miss in the first round with any of these. Like, you can't afford to miss. You have to get a good player.
I don't know. Well, but that's the weird thing. They're all good players. Let's be clear here. This is the difference between these guys being like good and great, not being bad and good, right? If they're okay with Will Campbell being a guard, and I don't think they should take a guard at 4.
No,
you can't take a guard at 4.
You can't draft a guard at 4.
Hypothetically, right?
No.
Will Campbell's going to be a really good guard, right? I think Mason Graham is going to be a really good defensive tackle for what he is, but will he be that unicorn kind of player? That's what now is maybe more of a question than it was before the combine.
I just can't believe that a guy weighed in 25 pounds lighter than what he was advertised at.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I heard you out there, like you were on, I think you were on Felger Mass. You say you got to put him in a different position. You're totally right. He goes from a two-gap player to an outside guy.
Yeah, he's a completely different kind of player. And again, still can be. I compare him to Braden Fiske from Florida State last year. Had a really good rookie year with the Rams. Good player. Was a second-round pick, though, because that's kind of a specialist sort of player. Now, Graham's better. Graham should be a first-round pick. He should be a top 10 pick. But he's not that. Again, he's just not that as well-rounded as we thought he was.
What do you know about Armand Membu?
So Membu had probably the best work out of all the tackles. There's a lot of buzz for him in
Why do you ask that real quick? Why do you ask
because Chad Graff just tweeted out that Armand Membu is putting himself in contention to be the Patriots pick at 4.
Interesting.
Wow.
So here's my question with Membu. He's a career right tackle. He's a really, really good right tackle, but he's a career right tackle.
That worked with Chooks last year, so that's good.
What did
Yeah,
Elliott say last week?
Yeah.
Elliott said we like Mike at guard.
Right. So if they were to sign Ronnie Stanley, Armand Membu at right tackle, like
Now you got a line.
now you have a really good line. So maybe that's honestly, if they were to sign Ronnie Stanley, Travis Hunter aside, because whether or not he falls, we'll see. Like, if there's no Travis Hunter, Armand Membu, you can make a strong argument if they have Ronnie Stanley that Armand Membu is the best pick for the Patriots at 4. I think we'll see how it shakes out with free agency.
Just don't flip him to the left side.
Right, because you're drafting. I would not draft him as a left tackle.
You draft the right tackle, you play him at right tackle.
Right, if you do that, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
But you need a left tackle to do that. Well, I guess you don't, but like you still need to answer left
Oh,
tackle.
you got
Well-
to address that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the question. Do you take a risk at left tackle or get a sure bet at right tackle? You've got those two choices.
That's a tough one. I want to get the blind side protected. And it shouldn't be mutually exclusive. One shouldn't impact the other, but I think I want to get the blind side protected.
Barth, where are things at with Banks at Texas? I feel like he was in the conversation a couple months ago as potentially a number 4 pick, and that hasn't happened anymore.
Yeah, he just hasn't had, that push that you see sometimes from guys. He didn't have a great combine. I wonder if kind of as people are going back and looking at the film a little bit closer, he's another guy. All these guys, I think even Membu, some people were talking about is moving to guard. That's this time of year. Everybody wants to move the tackles to guard for whatever reason. But yeah, he just, you go back and look at it, you don't see that oomph. You don't see that next step with him. I think he's a really solid player. And he's another guy that might end up playing tackle, might end up being guard. He's going to be solid wherever you put him. But he's solid. And at 4, I think you're looking for more than
Special,
solid.
yeah.
If they trade back to like 8, 9, 10, absolutely Kelvin Banks in the conversation. Certainly. I just don't know that he is, the juice or whatever you want to call it at 4 that you're maybe looking for. Not that a lot of guys do in this draft, though.
You're a football freak. You mentioned guys I never even heard of get drafted a year ago. The kid Bond from Texas.
Yeah.
He was running his mouth about the 40. He was going to run a 4-1.
He wasn't the
Still
only
ran a
one.
4-3. But where do you see him going?
I think
with the way Worthy went last year.
Yeah, I think he's probably. Are you talking about Isaiah Bond or
Isaiah
Matthew
Bond.
Golden?
Isaiah
'Cause There's
Bond.
2 Texas guys. So Bond, I think to me is probably a second-round pick.
Okay.
I know people love speed. I always like to play this game when somebody's like,
want fast guys,
he's
get
really
drafted.
fast. The Patriots should draft him, and I like to say, okay, he's fast and.
Matt Groh
right.
likes that, though.
Likes it.
Speed.
So,
That's
well,
his thing.
Matthew Golden, who's the other Texas receiver who was not talking about the 40, ran a better time. He was, I think, 4.29, and I think he's a better player. Like, he's a more complete player, runs better routes, has good hands, disciplined. Bond is probably a little bit faster in terms of play speed, but Matthew Golden's a more complete player. I was just talking about this with Dolph on the podcast we were doing. I love Matthew Golden for the Patriots. And the Josh McDaniels offense, he's just the fit makes him, I think, a better pick than he is, like, neutral. If they move back up into the end of the first round, because I don't think Golden's getting to the second, but if they were to move back up, Matthew Golden to the Patriots, in my mind, would be a really good pick.
March 3rd, right now. What are you doing at 4, Barth?
If Travis Hunter falls, it's Travis Hunter. That's the easy one. If Travis Hunter's not there, well, I just said, if they get Ronnie Stanley, I think Armand Membu, you make a strong case. If not, I'm hoping I get something to move back. and reevaluate there, move back and get Tyler Warren, move back and get, maybe Mason Graham is in play if you move back a little bit, especially as Christian Barmore insurance. There's not a ton of conviction right now after this weekend. There isn't. A lot of guys didn't help themselves.
See, but that's like you made the point though. Like if the great thing about free agency is if you get Stanley,
Yeah.
Now you can stick and pick at 4.
So I
those
want
guys are gone.
I want to give Dolph credit because he used this word on our podcast. Ronnie Stanley can kind of be the linchpin for their offseason. If you add him, everything else just falls into place. It gets a lot easier. If you don't add him, now it gets a lot more complicated
Fix
because
the O-line with 2 guys.
you still have this left tackle question you need to answer where, like, Cam Robinson would be a solid bridge, I guess, but you don't really get the definitive answer there.
All right. Alex Barth.
Stanley, long arms. Look how long his arms are.
98.5 thesportshub.com. That podcast, I'm sure, will be posted soon.
It's already up.
Oh, wow.
there you
There you go.
Lightning fast. The pod is posted with Barth and Dolph
Yeah,
talking about
Ralph's here today.
prospects, breaking down everything from the combine. Barthy, appreciate it.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.